CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Nasha Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Developing now, a Miami-Dade Schools police officer is in court. Investigators say her son shot himself with her gun. CBS News Miami's Peter Dinch is in Homestead. He has the latest details from police.
Fire Rescue and Homestead police responded to this community just before 2 yesterday afternoon. We now have new ring cam video from the scene from a neighbor showing a great deal of police and fire rescue activity. Miami-Dade Schools police officer Stephanie Jerez is now charged with child neglect with great bodily harm after Homestead police say her 3-year-old son found her personal firearm, a 9mm Glock handgun like this one, and shot himself in the foot. The child is now in stable condition after being taken from Homestead Hospital to HCA Florida Kendall Hospital. We spoke with neighbors.
As a mom, I feel it breaks my heart that she has to go through this as well, you know, because it's her child, and I just saw her the day before playing with him right outside. But it's scary because, you know, it should be locked, should be put away.
I think we should all take a lesson from this, that it doesn't matter that even a police officer is still human. It can make a mistake, and that mistake can be deadly. Yeah. Thankfully, it wasn't, you know, and the child's okay.
Be careful with guns. Yes, that's the message. Be careful when you have when you have kids, you gotta be careful with that.
Jerez made an appearance in bond court where Judge Mindy Glaser told her she was not allowed to have unsecured guns in her home, and her bond was set at $5,000. A spokesman for Miami-Dade Schools tells us she is relieved of duty pending the outcome of this investigation. Homestead police are urging all gun owners to safely store their weapons and educate themselves and their families about gun safety. We'll have much more on this story coming up at 5 on CBS News Miami. In Homestead, Peter Dinch, CBS News Miami.
We have an update on a story that we have been following for you on our CBS News Miami Quickcast. The Seminole County Sheriff and federal prosecutor announced that the federal authorities are now leading the case. It resulted in a Homestead woman's kidnapping and violent murder. Shocking video from a witness showed the armed abduction of the 31-year-old in broad daylight. It happened at a Winter Springs intersection back on April 11th. Authorities believe that this is a larger scale operation and that this crime is not an isolated incident.
I feel what we witnessed out there with that carjacking, what we witnessed with the murder, are probably symptoms of a larger problem that's going on that extend well beyond the scope of the 18th Judicial Circuit and the Seminole County Sheriff's Office.
Just hours after the carjacking, the woman Aquas Viva's body was found inside her burned-out vehicle. 2 men are facing federal charges so far. A 16-year-old is accused of shooting 10 people in Central Florida, and that includes an NFL wide receiver with the Houston Texans. It happened early Sunday morning north of Orlando. Police were originally called to the area to control a large crowd, but when they got there, gunshots rang out. Tank Dell with the Houston Texans team, along with 9 others, were hurt. Everyone is expected to be okay. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office says the alleged shooter was booked into the juvenile detention center. A recently released air quality report puts Miami-Dade County one step closer to deciding where to build a new waste-to-energy incinerator. But one in Doral burned down last year, as you might recall. But this report analyzed all 3 proposed sites. The possible locations include Doral, Medley, and the now defunct Opa-locka West Airport near Miramar. The results have only amplified the controversy. Here is reaction from Doral's mayor when she spoke exclusively today to CBS News Miami Morning Edition team.
What is important to look at here is what is the best option for Miami-Dade long term.
You talked about air quality and not being the best site. All 3 of them are feasible for air quality, and actually the report says that if you compare a new incinerator being built in Doral to what the air quality would be previously when it was operating there before the fire, that the air quality would actually improve in Doral. So what do you say to that?
Well, because the plant that was here before was very outdated and very old. So we are conscious that a new developed, technology and site would have better results than what we had, but it's still the closest proximity to residents.
We are having all three mayors weigh in on this issue. The mayor of Medley joins us tomorrow morning live at 6 a.m.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
And taking a live look at downtown Miami, a great shot. The sun is out, skies seem pretty clear. Next Weather meteorologist Cindy Pressler is tracking the days ahead. Cindy.
Naja, we actually have some rain in the forecast this week, and actually a pretty good chance tomorrow and Wednesday. We're inching closer now to the rainy season. We've got a couple more weeks here of dry season, but those sea breezes that really play a huge part in our wet season, they're starting to be seen. They're starting to move inland and bringing some moisture with them. Right now it's 81 degrees, but the high today so far has been 83. So those temperatures, they're below average for this time of the year, but that's going to change as well. And those easterly to southeasterly winds gusting to 28 miles per hour at the current time. Not as breezy or gusty as it was over the weekend, and that will also continue to change. We're going to bring that tight pressure gradient back down as we head into the middle part of the week too. So that's some good news for you. Looking ahead, sea breeze brings moisture inland. So that's where the moisture is coming from. That east-southeasterly flow transports it in. You get that little sea breeze front in there. There is some lift to it. Afternoon showers, yes, maybe even isolated thunderstorm over interior areas. I don't think the coast is going to see that much, but a warming trend also kicks in by the middle to the end of the week. We're heading back to actually normal for this time of the year. So our dry air is slowly moving out of here. We had such a great couple of weeks last week and the week before, but now that humidity is back up again. So you probably have noticed it in your hair a little bit frizzier. That's going to continue to be the case. And as winds go, gusty today, 20, 25 mile per hour winds. Again, tomorrow you're going to find some of these winds out of the southeast, 20 to 25 miles per hour. We still have that gradient in here. And even as we head into Wednesday, 15 to 20, still not out of the question, but it's easing by the middle part of the week. But because we still have the winds, small craft advisory in effect, at least for the Keys, winds up to 20 knots, seas up to 7 feet. So down in the Keys, if you're taking the boat out, be careful. And we also have a rip current risk through Thursday evening, all the beaches along the coast, including Broward and Miami-Dade counties. High pressure sitting off the coast, sending us that easterly flow, and those sea breezes playing a part now. We're starting to get some lift, so these little clouds have some moisture to work with at this time around. So that's different. The driest of air is off to our south-southwest now. So these little showers are going to continue to come in. Some spotty showers in the afternoon. Warmer temperatures, though, by the time we get to Thursday and Friday, and then this weekend, we're going to bring in a chance for some showers again, about a 10 to 20% chance again. So we're starting to ease into the rainy season at this point. Lots of showers over the interior areas. That's coming up tomorrow and Wednesday, so you might need your umbrella, especially by the afternoon. Here's your forecast. Temperatures back to the mid-80s. Dry Thursday and Friday. Chance for showers again this weekend.
Cindy, thank you. Happening tonight, the future of Broward County Public Schools will be front and center at a town hall. It's the first of 7 town halls. In Broward, there are more than 50,000 fewer students and too many empty seats at the school. District wants to close or overhaul several schools, and that's to save money and prioritize the students who are actually in class. So here's a full list. You can see it right there. And for the entire list, you can also go to our website. It is cbsmiami.com. When we come back, we have the latest on the Israel-Hamas war as the U.S. pushes to reach a potential ceasefire and for Hamas to release its hostages. Stay with us. Now to the latest on the Israel-Hamas war. Intense negotiations are underway in the Middle East. It's as Israel and Hamas negotiate a potential ceasefire to stop the fighting and get hostages out. CBS News Miami's Nicole Skenga has the latest.
President Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the weekend as the U.S. continues to push for an Israeli ceasefire and for Hamas to release its hostages.
It is a priority to get those hostages home. It is a priority to get to a ceasefire and is obviously a priority to get that all-important humanitarian aid into Gaza.
The president dispatched Secretary of State Antony Blinken to the Middle East to work with partners on a potential ceasefire.
We're addressing it, working on it together with partners throughout the region.
Hamas leaders flew to Egypt to discuss the latest proposal from Israel, which includes the group releasing as many as 33 hostages in exchange for a pause in hostilities in Gaza.
Hamas has before it a proposal that is extraordinarily generous on the part of Israel.
Hamas released more propaganda videos over the weekend showing hostages still alive. It included at least 2 Americans, including 64-year-old Keith Siegel.
This is the first time that we're seeing him, that we're hearing him. It's surreal.
Hannah Siegel, Keith Siegel's niece, told Face the Nation that she believes Hamas is asking for U.S. help in cutting a deal.
These 2 videos are a signal from Hamas that they are ready to make a deal, and a reminder that there are American citizens being held, including Keith.
Siegel's daughter has called on Netanyahu to do more to strike a deal and get the hostages returned. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, the White House.
Universities across the country are grappling with how to deal with student protests regarding the war in Gaza and upcoming graduation ceremonies. Demonstrators have set up encampments on campuses across the country, and they are vowing to stay until their colleges cut financial ties with Israel. Hundreds have been arrested. Yesterday, Palestinian supporters clashed with pro-Israeli activists at UCLA. This morning, Columbia University announced no deal had been reached with student protesters to leave. The school's upcoming graduation may be at risk if protests aren't under control. Governor Ron DeSantis met privately with former President Donald Trump for several hours Sunday morning. The two talked about fundraising ahead of the 2024 general election. The meeting was made at the request of DeSantis, and this is according to a senior Trump source with knowledge of the meetings. It's the first meeting between the two since DeSantis suspended his presidential campaign in January. DeSantis is endorsing the former president, but has not campaigned with him since dropping out. On the housing front, the deadline is today for people who need help finding a home in Hialeah. 1,000 Section 8 vouchers will be available. Thousands of people have applied. There will be a lottery to determine who gets the aid. Preference will be given to the elderly, people who are homeless, and people who are disabled. It would pay about 70% of the rent based on your income. You can apply online. For a full list of requirements, just go to our website, cbsmiami.com. Tonight, South Florida sports fans are in for a treat on the court. The Heat will try to even their first-round series against the Boston Celtics. In Game 3, the Heat falling behind the Celtics, and Heat tip-off Game 4 from Kaseya Center is tonight at 7:30. Game 5 will be back in Boston on Wednesday night. And to the ice, the Florida Panthers will try to close out their first-round series against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Panthers will need a better start tonight. Tampa Bay pounced on the Cats early on Saturday, but the Panthers bounced back in the second but lost 6-3. Face-off is set for tonight at 7 in Sunrise. The series will shift to Tampa for Game 6 on Wednesday if necessary. That's your CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami, and have a great Monday.